Hello, boys and girls. Today we're going to be reading a story. Our story is called The Hares and the Frogs. And when I say hares, I don't mean hairs like this hair. I mean hair like a bunny. Okay, so our story is going to be about some hares like bunnies and frogs. So let's see what it's all about. The hares and the frogs. So you see some of our reading is in yellow and it has a circle around it. So those are the parts that you are going to read. So we're going to read this together, okay? You and me together. The parts that don't have yellow, I'm going to read. You can feel free to read it with me, but if you don't want to, you don't have to read that part. But, my friends, you are responsible for reading this part. All of these parts that I've highlighted in yellow are parts that you can sound out. There are no tricky parts in these words. So there are words that you can sound out sound by sound, okay? So if you get stuck in a word, I want you to use your fist and sound it out, stretch it out. For example, if I don't know what this word says, right away I can notice, ooh, it has a blend. Grr, grr, ah. And I know that the double S sounds like one S. It sounds like s, grass, grass. So then I break it apart and then I blend it together. Okay? So let's get started. I want you to follow with your finger because when I get to the yellow parts, it's going to be your turn to read. Ready? The hares. Good job. 3 hares stood. One of them said, I. Brave. Your turn. Said the next one. Your turn. Brave. In the brook scares us. The wind scares us. We are scared all the time. Yes, said the last one. It is hair. Hair. Oh no, what's going on with them? Why are the hares sad? Okay, your turn. In the brook. The splash scared the hares. Hide as they scared. Look, said one of the hares. Said the next hare. They are scared of us. Ooh, and look, I have an exclamation mark, so I need to say that with some emotion. It doesn't mean I'm going to yell it. It just means I need to say it with more emotion. They are scared of us. Well, look at your exclamation mark. How should you read that? Said the last hare. good to be a hare. Whoa, that was a little bit tricky because I can't hear you. But before you leave me, we're going to read this together one more time. Okay? So now we're going to read the whole thing together. So I want you to follow along the whole way through. Ready? And I know some of you are going to say, I'm tired. But guess what? We only become better readers if we read more, right? And I know you guys got this. You've got this. We can read it. Come on. The Hares and the Frogs. 3 hares stood in the grass. I am sad, one of them said. I wish we were brave. So do I, said the next one. But we are not brave. A splash in the brook scares us. The wind in the grass scares us. We are scared all the time. Yes, said the last one. It is sad to be a hare. Why do they feel sad to be a hare? Why do they wish they were not hares? They're scared all the time, right? So they're tired of being scared. Look at their faces. They don't look happy, do they? Mm-mm. Okay, let's keep going. I want you to follow with your finger, okay? Just then, there was a splash in the brook. The splash scared the hares. They ran off to hide. As they ran, they scared a bunch of frogs. I hope you've noticed all those blends that we've been seeing in our reading. Frogs has one of them. Fur. Good job. So what did they see? They saw a bunch of frogs. Look, said one of the hares. The frogs are scared of us. Yes, they are, said the next hare. They are scared of us. Well, I'm glad I am not a frog. Yes, said the last hare. In the end, it is good to be a hare. Ah, the end. Now, boys and girls, this story is a fable. Do you remember we've been talking about fables? So fables are stories that have been passed on from one person to another person to another person. And they usually teach us a lesson. So fables teach us a lesson. Remember we read the fable about the ant and the grasshopper? So this fable is teaching us a lesson too. And I want you to think, what lesson could this story be teaching us? We learned that there are a group of hares and they're always scared, right? And they say, it is sad to be a hare. We are scared all the time. So they're tired of being scared. But then they see a group of frogs. They see a bunch of frogs. And they say, the frogs are scared of us. I'm glad I'm not a frog. And then they say, in the end, it is good to be a hare. So what do you think they're teaching us? That we shouldn't be scared to be hares? No. Okay. Sometimes the hares are scared. Sometimes the frogs are scared. At first, the hares weren't happy with themselves because they're like, oh, we're always afraid. Has there ever been a time when you've been unhappy? When you're like, oh, I wish that I could read better. Or, oh, I wish that I could play baseball like that kid. Or, oh, I wish I was better at video games. Okay. Are there times when you have felt like maybe you weren't happy with something? Yeah, just like the hares. The hares weren't happy with themselves because they're like, oh, we're always scared, right? hmm So then they realized that the frogs are scared too. So I want you to realize that even if there's something that you're not happy with about yourself, we all have things. Nobody's perfect, right? Sometimes we're scared of things. Sometimes we don't know how to do things. So we all have something that we want to get better at or that we want to do. And we're not the only people. Okay? So just like the hares, they were sad that they were always scared, but then they realized that the frogs are always scared too. So we have to realize our lesson is that sometimes there are things that we can't do, or maybe things that we're scared of, but that's okay because there are other people feeling the same way too, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, we're not the only ones. We're not alone. Sometimes there are other people that are feeling the same way too. Okay? So I want you to think about that. The last thing you're going to do with this assignment right now for this video is I'm going to post this book. I'm going to post this book on Canvas, this story. I'm going to post it on Canvas, and I want you to practice reading it. So you are going to practice reading the story. If you can't read all of these words, okay, if you're still struggling with your reading, then you're just going to focus on the words that are in yellow, okay? What are you going to do? You're going to read the story. If it's too much for you, you're going to focus on the words that are in yellow. Alrighty? Alright, guys. That is it.